Hey guys, it's me, the Bombay Chef Varun Inamdar, and welcome to Rajshri Food. Today's recipe is a hack. It's a recipe that you need to decide. When we have guests coming in and surprising us, or when you have family members just springing onto us, we need to spring back a surprise onto them by rustling up this very quick snack. It's a homemade taco recipe, or it's a homemade taco hack. Let's begin. For homemade tacos, primarily what you need is a bread, like a flat bread. In most homes, we have a chapati. And 99% of the time, we have some leftover chapati. Now, in case you do not have these, and you can lay your hands on pita bread, like a thin pita bread, or tortilla sheets, you're really lucky. But chapati works fantastic. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to divide this into 4 quadrants. The first one has like a mix of onion and capsicum. The second one has some paneer or some cottage cheese which is lightly flavored. The third one has some cheese. Now you can use a combination of mozzarella, processed cheese or any cheese of your choice. And the fourth one has ketchup. Now ketchup could be sweet chili, banana ketchup, pumpkin ketchup, tomato ketchup. Go all out and wild. Let's begin with the first step. That is making like a sofrito mix, technical, using onions and capsicum. Onions are sliced and ready. And move on to cutting some capsicum. Now you can use bell peppers, you can use vegetables of your choice. Depending on the vegetables that you have, you can rustle up this mix. Now I'm primarily using these two because I know you have these in your kitchen 99% of the time. But by all means, if you want to cook this a little more lavishly, you can bring out the squashes and the zucchinis and things like that and go all out. Cut and ready. Let's move on to quickly tossing these. Now when I say tossing these, I want them slightly undone because that bite of something that's raw and done is just perfect, especially in a recipe like this. Oil. Once this kind of just begins to heat up, I'm going to add in like a teaspoon of garlic which is crushed. Next, the sliced onions and capsicum. Let's add in a touch of salt and along with this, a few flavorings. Now in this case, I'm keeping it to its bare minimum. Dried oregano or oregano, depending on which part of the world you're watching us from. Some chili flakes. Now at this stage as well, you can go all out and you can add in some more flavors. You can bring in some more herbs and things like that. Black pepper, white pepper, go all out. But like I said, I'm keeping it to its bare minimum because there are multiple things that are coming together and the compact flavor of everything is going to be fantastic, trust me. We need to saute this on high flame because like I said, we need to ensure that this has that little rawness to it while it's also done. There's no trick here. All you need to do is cook this on high flame, keep tossing it, and there you are. In fact, just as an afterthought, I just kind of thought about it. What you could also do is keep the capsicum out of this picture, saute only the onions, wilt them till they turn mushy and brown, like literally light brown, and imagine making the same recipe with some feta, with some wilted onions, and then packaging it just the way we're doing. A recipe, a food for thought. With this, off goes the flame. And this mixture gets transferred onto a plate. Now because we are making this like a leftover recipe, that's how we're making. But in case you're making this for a larger family, like a whole planned recipe this way, you can make this mixture in advance and you can keep it. In fact, every little stage can be done in advance. Remember this. Let's move on to the next step, and that is pan frying cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is also cut and ready. Oil. I'm keeping the flavor similar because I do not want too much of complexity in terms of flavor in a recipe like this. Sometimes simplicity is also good. Once the pan heats up, I'm going to add in pieces of paneer. And similarly to this, let's add in oregano, chili flakes, and salt. Quick few tosses. Let's transfer this in the same bowl. And now let's move on to the last step, and that is assembling the taco. Actually, not the last step, the third last step, because this step is assembling it, the next step is pan frying it, and the last step is garnishing it. What I need now is, of course, a leftover chapati or a tortilla sheet, and I'm going to give it one cut like so, right from the center towards me. Now imagine one thing, I'm dividing this round chapati into 4 quadrants. 1, 2, 3, 4. The first quadrant is going to have some ketchup, like so. The second quadrant is going to have this onion mix. The third quadrant is going to have cottage cheese, which is pan fried. If you want like a vegan option for something like this, you can also opt for tofu. Simple. And in the fourth quadrant, I'm adding in some cheese. Now cheese could be of your choice. You can use Emmenthal, you can use some processed cheese, or all out, maybe even mozzarella. 4 quadrants done and ready, filled, stuffed and ready. Now here is the trick or the hack. This gash is going to help us fold this better. So this goes on top of this. You press it lightly. This goes on top of this. We again press it. And finally, this gets encased like so. Done. That's why you have a taco, which is a soft taco. Now this is done and ready. The next step is to pan fry this. But before that, let me make some more. Four of these are done and ready. Let's move on to the next step. And this is literally pan frying this from both sides. Let's do that. Oil. If you've ever made quesadillas at home, you exactly know what I'm talking about. Pan fry till they're nice and crisp on all sides. In this case, 2 sides. Let's place these extremely carefully. The trick here is to pan fry this on low heat. The moment you increase the heat, chances are that these may get burned. Low heat and a little longer time. Perfect, nice and crisp on the outside and gooey because of course, the cheese, the paneer, the vegetables, and sweet, sour and spicy because of the ketchup. Let's transfer these on a plate for now, because the next and the last step is garnishing these with some ketchup and some save. Indianized chaat version of an homemade tacos. Bring it on. Let's add in some ketchup at the open face, of course, and finally some save. There you go. Homemade tacos, chaat style. What are you waiting for? The recipe is done. Homemade tacos, chaat style. For you, your family, your friends. I'm just repeating the same process. Bye for now.